Hey everybody listening to Indie Corner Radio. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I've got an awesome guest here. We got Matthew Mark Hunter here. How you doing, Matthew?
Good. How are you?
I always get like when somebody has two names next to each other that both have in the same, start, sometimes my brain goes with the other name first. So it's like Mark Matthew. Have you ever been
Yeah.
called that by some
They,
chance?
people usually say Mark sometimes.
And Mark,
So
you're just like, that's not my
yeah,
name.
yeah.
And Matt, I could understand. Do you get Matt or do you just get
I
Matthew?
do get Matt a lot, but sometimes I just tell people to go with Matthew. But even after that, everyone still calls me Matt on sets and stuff.
Is it just, I mean, I guess it's just shorter because people call me John from time to time, but I mean, you
Yeah,
know.
I usually go by Matthew because my dad goes by Matt. We have the same name. I'm a junior, so I just try to go for Matthew, and he's always Matt.
So did you not put the junior on there because he's not a filmmaker, so won't get
Um,
confused?
I just didn't put junior because it was just easier to say MMH Productions.
Yeah,
We did
MMH
do like
Junior Productions might be a little
we
longer.
did MMH Junior when we did like our kids show. I just threw the junior on for that part.
That's actually
Um,
kind of cute.
yeah, but he's acted in some stuff in the past, but yeah,
Yeah, it's, well, cool. You're MMA. Which one are you? MMH one or two?
MMH, and then on IMDb he's just Matthew Mark Hunter Senior, so that's the
Oh,
only difference.
okay, cool. Well, so did he get you into this or did you get him into this?
Um, I got into like horror films at a young age. Both my parents let me watch films when I was like 4 or 5 and
Four
just
or
put on
five?
whatever. Yeah, they would just put on whatever and I just sit there and watch it. Like if I was scared, they'd put on like the bonus features first. Like for example, like Nightmare on Elm Street for an example. They would put on like the bonus features and show like Robert Englund getting on the makeup, and then that would just show me that everything's fake and stuff. And then after that, it's just everything horror film wise. I was just into all of it. And then the filming part in seventh grade, my teacher had us like write a story, and we got bonus points if we actually filmed the film. And I was the only one in the class to do it. And then since that happened with the horror nonstop, they just came together at a young age.
So you just started making movies from there, like shorts and whatnot. When
Yeah.
when did you make your first feature?
First feature was I was in high school at 17, and it was in the summer of 2017. And then that also is my first feature and like my second real film under MMH is the film that made us an award-winning filmmaker and company.
Cool. So now you can say I'm an award-winning filmmaker, no matter no
Yeah,
matter no matter what. Um, so that's really cool. I love that. Okay, I always am curious about this. Like, I mean, how are your friends? Did your friends really enjoy just coming and being part of it, or did they, a lot of them just like not want anything to do with the film stuff?
um overall, like during for sure junior and senior year, I had a select group of people, um and a lot of the earlier stuff on YouTube around like 2016 to 2018 or like even 2019. It's a lot of the same casts a lot of the time. I mean, that's just a group of us who used to get together and film stuff. Like in the summer, we would get together and every weekend we'd shoot a film, edit it within the same weekend. We just used a little camcorder. We didn't go full production, no lights, no audio, just
Mm.
camera, audio, and things like that. And it was the same group of people nonstop coming back and forth. I got some other friends from school who were like in one or two projects at the most. And then we started branching out and getting other people in the area coming into us. And we still use the same people who we've had in the past in most projects. But every project we do get like one or two new faces involved nowadays, just so we can keep getting more people involved with the company.
That's cool. I like that. So, all right. So you basically you got because I see this with like indie filmmakers, a lot of them, especially ones that are kind of guerrilla do it yourself. I'm gonna pick up a camera and gonna go make a movie with my friends. they'll have like their core group of friends, and then after a while, those friends will move on. Usually it's a job or other stuff. They just don't have time to do the film stuff. Then you get the other, a new group of friends who are, down with that. Then, it keeps changing, and I love that, because then you don't just see the same people in everything. You're gonna see different people come and go.
Yeah, the main group of us, there was a big issue that happened in 2020, and my original group, everyone just dispersed, and I didn't hear from anyone. Still haven't really heard from anyone, but two people who still, well, one person who still appears in a lot of things here and there because I'm also the godparent to their child. So me and him stay close to this day. But the original group, besides him, really, I haven't heard from too much about them. And like during 2020, I got like a few different people in the era who have still been involved with the productions the last 4 years. And that group already, film wise, has been a lot sturdier in doing everything because they also do stuff on other projects. So there's more like into the film idea.
Right.
But like even like the original MMH group, I mean, there's just a place for it because of all like the memories and the ones that helped that started the company get off the ground basically too.
Yeah, that's great. So you do a thing that I sort of did when I first started out, because I started out when I was, I want to say it was 20, and I got my first like, or 19. I was 19 when I got my first camera, and I started making these little short films, or whatever. And because I had one of those big ass cameras, but then I had to get like a mini DV. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't know if you made movies with those, but they're like just this little digital camera. And I started making little movies, and I did the same thing you did because I watched, I rewatched. I'd seen before, but I rewatched Judy and the Inflatable Doll, and you have that scene with you and Judy at the park and everything. And I made a whole short film back in the day with my pet monster doll that I've had since forever, where it's like my pet monster's lovely day at the park, and then at the end you find out it's my pet monster's dream was the whole time was that he had that day, but I guess he never did. I don't know. It was just so stupid. And this dude literally found a bunch, I don't know, he captured a bunch of my short films I used to have. I don't even know where they are. Like I put them online, and then I can't get back into that YouTube account. So I lost like a ton of my old stuff, but he found a bunch of them, and I'm a little embarrassed, because yours is a little bit more well done, as far as like it looks better, shot and stuff. Mine was like really crappy, and this dude is a fan of my Pet Monster stuff, and he actually created a whole Instagram account called Moody and Monster, which I don't recommend people finding, but now people probably might go look for it, so it might help that guy out, I guess. But they're like a little embarrassing, Do you ever find like, I mean, I guess you obviously love that stuff, right? You love doing stuff with like dolls and puppets and stuff like that.
Um, well, the first part is I'll say is that we also did a My Pet Monster horror film too, using two of my pet monsters.
Nice.
And they came to life basically. Like they're
Dude,
bad.
you and me are syncing up right there. That's awesome.
I think we did that like one or two Christmases ago.
I have to
Um,
go check that out now.
yeah,
It's
that
on
one's on.
YouTube, right?
Yeah, that one's on YouTube. It's
Nice.
just My Pet Monster. Um, but yeah, like Judy, like a lot of like when I do stuff in like public like that, I really don't care what people because I know when we did like Easter Massacre, we had like a giant bunny suit like killing people on the side of the road, and it was the corner house on the actual main road where we used to film at. So all the cars going by would see what we're doing and like blood splatter and things like that. And even on my house when we did like the croutons film, my neighbors were out their house and their kids were outside, and they just saw me getting attacked by like croutons and blood squirting out of the mouth and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in doing stuff in like guerrilla style in public, I really I don't care what people might think. We've shot at like Marks without them knowing. We shot at like Pet Supplies Plus without them knowing. We shot at a bowling alley. And surprisingly, the bowling alley shared the YouTube link on their Facebook page, which we were not expecting.
Oh, so they were
But
happy with that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they shared it, so that was it was sweet. But a lot of those ones we actually, it's for like the bowling alley one. We used a VHS camcorder that takes like tape, and you got to export the footage to DVD, then put on the computer. So a lot of the times back in the day, we'd just bring a little digital camcorder also, and just use that to shoot because we could hide it better.
Mm-hmm.
And then even like now I have like sunglasses, and the sunglasses actually have a video camera in the middle, so I can get even more secretive now, guerrilla style, and just have someone wear the sunglasses, and it records what's going on in the location. Even easier to get away with guerrilla filmmaking. But I mean, I brought in a lot of things to life. Like YouTube is more for like our shorts and our like fun films, like comedy horrors, crazy stuff. And then we have a whole other selection of movies that are only for on DVD. They're on streaming services and like film festivals, and I take those like conventions. And a lot of those DVDs aren't on YouTube because they're mostly like the budget films that I've spent money on making. So I have like two different sets of films, but most people know me more for like the comedy part of it.
Right.
But yeah, we've done like croutons, washing machine, elliptical, blender, toaster, uh, cars, a bunch of random stuff coming to life, marshmallows, and like our new one's the air fryer coming to life. So it's just a whole other thing. And even with
Yeah.
puppets,
I'm excited for the air fryer. Like I can't wait to see what you guys do with that.
that one's it's gonna be good. I mean, overall, it's strictly comedy horror. It's a lot more comedy than horror. The main horror elements are going to be like the kills and the blood, just because it's going to be a very goofy film, but the kills and blood are really extreme and over the top uh, practical effects. Just so we can stick with the bloody horror with an 80s twist. Even for
Hmm.
that feature film, we're actually shooting our first feature with the VHS camcorder. So
Nice.
it's going to be a lot more of a pain transporting and editing on VCR than going on the computer to finish the edited. But it's still gonna be fun. And I know the Indiegogo is still up, but we're already gonna be shooting the next 3 weekends in a row. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so you said earlier that like Nightmare on Elm Street was like one of the first kind of things you would see or whatever as a kid. Did that did comedy horror inspire you as a filmmaker?
The first film I can fully remember watching horror wise is Freddy vs. Jason. And then even at like I think I was like 7 or 8 watching that, and I would go to school and tell other people how everyone died in what order, and I would just watch that one a lot. So like I just go to school and tell kids like the order of how everyone died and how, and no one else in that age range understood or was able to like watch that kind of stuff. So getting in trouble a little bit talking about that kind of stuff. But the Willies, 1990, the Willies is the main film that actually inspired me to do like filmmaking.
Ah,
And that I've referenced the Willies in a bunch of different films of mine. We actually took the poster and redesigned it for a film. I've taken a few lines from different scenes of the Willies and incorporated them into our projects.
but dude, I keep
Um,
forgetting Donkey Lips is in that movie. Michael Ray Bowers in that movie.
yeah, we actually emailed him too, like a couple months ago to see if he'd be involved with a project of ours. Uh, but during was all the SAG stuff, he couldn't come out and do like
Yeah, he's
voiceover roles and stuff. But we tried
yes.
for him.
Yeah, if you ever go SAG someday, you should
Yeah, oh
definitely
yeah,
try to get him.
oh yeah, for
I'm sure
sure.
he'd be down. He's such a nice guy. He was supposed to be the first interview I was ever gonna have, like full, whatever. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Like he had to bail out, and then we never got to reschedule, which kind of sucks. So now, now I do this show, which is a little bit different than my live audio. because when I first started this podcast, it was on Blog Talk Radio when it was basically free, and stuff. And then now it costs like $40 just for an hour, you know?
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm like, Jesus. Like,
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah, so I'm like, no, I'm not paying $40 a month for that again. But thankfully they don't, now that I haven't used it in a while, they haven't gotten rid of my stuff, or whatever, my old episodes and everything. So I'm bringing those back and putting them up on like Throwback Thursdays where people can hear the old interviews. Because I did interview somebody from Salute Your Shorts. So, now, I mean, were you a Nickelodeon kid? Did you grow up watching that kind of stuff?
Not too often. Um, I more was for the Cartoon Network when I was growing up, but I'd still go back and forth from both, just depending on what was on the channels. And then I grew up. I was born in 2000, so I was just getting into like the early 2000s and like reruns of 90s stuff. But even my parents would mostly show me the old cartoons versus like newer stuff I'd watch. So like I'd put in like He-Man's to watch. I like Gargoyles a lot. And then around maybe like 13, 14, I was at a friend's house and he showed me like South Park. And then that
Yeah.
started a whole nother like
There's a whole
cartoon
another rabbit
stuff.
hole
Because
to
then
go
that's
down.
when I found out about Adult Swim after Cartoon Network also. And that just opened up a whole nother doorway also at that age.
I'm sure. Yeah, well, you and I like, cause yeah, I was born in '82, so we're a little bit of a different generation gap there, but not too bad. But like, the thing that I was like thinking about when you were sharing that stuff is that I growing up with I grew up with like Nickelodeon, so I grew up with like Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps and stuff like that. And you grew up with, like Nickelodeon, I think at that time was a completely different thing,
Oh, yeah, way
in
way
2000.
different. Yeah, but I still was like, I own all the Goosebumps now, but I watched those like my mom would copy them on the VHS,
You
like
still have
copy off the
VHS when
TV.
you were a kid?
I did, yeah, my parents did. I collect VHS now myself. I collect like all type. I collect horror VHS, obscure kids shows that okay, like are no idea, no one knows what they are. A bunch of other stuff, but yeah, I own like 4 or 5 VCRs, and I
Yeah,
mostly just use one for everything. And that's how I transfer my VHS camcorder footage over. Also,
yeah, I think I'm closer to your parents' age than I am your age. So like, if I had a kid that was born in that around that time, I would have probably had the V. Well, I don't know. I kind of stopped doing VHS once DVD rolled around. But I love that you said earlier that you would watch. They would introduce you by showing you the making of, and you could see how they put Freddy's face on or something, or whatever. Because that's a whole new parenting level, you know. That is completely different than the way I grew up. The way I grew up, if you were scared, tough shit because there was nothing to show you, that it's fake. Nowadays because of the, technology, it's kind of cool. We can show people that.
yeah, and it helped a lot too. Like my mom as a kid, her parents let her watch whatever they wanted to. Like from the video store, they could get any horror films. They didn't care either. And then like same for like my dad also. So like even growing up, they were just uh even like the music I listened to really was like 80s and 90s style music, a couple 70s and 60s. So I even still listen to like the oldies music in
Mm.
a sense. But I mean everything growing up, like even like my dad's side, they would celebrate Halloween every year and go all out in the yard, and we still do that now. So both sides of the family came together basically and both formed into me. And it's like even as like a kid, I stopped trick-or-treating when I was like 4 years old, and I started scaring people at the house instead of going trick-or-treating. And I still do that to this day. So it's just always been involved in my life, Halloween and horror.
And that's awesome, though. So yeah, so Halloween's a big time, and I mean obviously you're too old to be trick or treating, but you're not too old to still enjoy, do you pass out candy to kids?
My when we have like our little setup in our yard, like a giant setup. We make a lot of this stuff. We have some store-bought stuff. We brought animatronics on Halloween night, but if you get to the end of the driveway, my mom has the candy, and then me and my dad are just scaring the kids all night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've done that for since I was since my dad was in high school. His parents used to do it, and then every we just keep been doing it nonstop. So like age 4 to now, I've just been scaring kids nonstop and probably will forever.
I don't know. I mean, as much as I'm into horror, because I mean I do podcasts on horror. I love horror. I watch horror all the time, but Halloween, I guess because I'm so used to horror all year round and Halloween all year round, like Halloween itself when it comes around just doesn't do as much for me as I would hope it would, Like it just kind of like and I need to get back into that Halloween spirit.
Yeah, it's we usually set up the yard in like August
What?
or
So you do it like
yeah,
2 years, 2 months ahead?
yeah, we set up everything really 2 months ahead, and then I always bring out new stuff, and even like regular stuff we leave up all year round inside. Like I have three animatronics up in my room that just stay up all year round. Like everything around me is all horror and like screen used masks from past MMH films I have lined up everywhere and things like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, obviously MMH comes from your initials and everything. What prompted you to pick that as your production company name?
I'm not fully sure. At the when we did our first short apples, we used Applebrook as like the town it's from, and then we've used Applebrook as like the main town in like most of our films, like how Stephen King has his town and like Troma has the Tromaville.
I have
A
Echo
lot of the
Lake,
films,
so
yeah, a lot
I
of
know.
ours is just Applebrook. So we got like Applebrook like t-shirts for the town, things like that in nature. But though going through figuring out like the company name is going to be something using apples, or I wanted to do something with ravens as like the company name, like Raven, like something with Apple or Raven, but then just MMH rolled off the tongue saying Matthew Mark Hunter. It just was easier to do MMH Productions, and then we just the motto with bloody horror with an 80s twist is the motto, just because I like the 80s parts, just brings weird stuff to life, or the way we do kills all practical. And then the bloody horror is just because a lot of the films are just nonstop blood here and there.
So you love practical effects. Like when you watch a movie, you'd
Yeah,
rather have that.
yeah, like even newer stuff, like if people have CGI monsters, I'd rather them actually construct a monster, practical suits, puppetry, like how they used to do it, than just a CGI monster, because it's not as scary. And like when people do like the practical blood effects in film, and then when they shoot the blood, it's like the background's not bloody, the actors aren't bloody. It just takes it out of it, and I'd rather see them just blow a tube of blood versus some fake effect on the screen that takes.
Hmm.
It's just it seems like an easier way out, and I'd rather just have them put more work into like nonstop effects. We've done for like visual effects, we've done people like disappearing. We did a head. We blew up someone's head in visual effects for one project, and then uh, it's like small stuff, but a lot of the stuff with like the blood, we did it as a gag on one film, or was really obviously fake thing,
Hmm.
just to mess around as a joke. But majority of all this stuff, it's all practical blood and tubes, or everyone's holding a tube blowing into it. We hook things up to people's necks and blow it out, things like that. So we just keep doing practical for everything we do.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, that's great because I feel like it's sort of a dying art form, in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like so many people are just like, it's so much easier to just put this in post and do that when it actually sometimes can cost more money, especially in Hollywood. They're paying all these visual effects people when they could just do it practically for like cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, I get some parts nowadays with the technology, like monster wise, but even then, like I watched Last Voyage of the Dementor and they had an actor play the vampire for like different scenes, which was actual monster. And then like harder stuff, they would digitally add stuff in. Like that kind of stuff works. But if you're doing like a full digital monster, then it just looks like Pumpkinhead. Like I think it's number three when he breaks through the glass, and it's obviously a shitty computer. I mean, it's just comedy horror at that point because it would just looks so bad when they did that scene.
And
Um,
I think yeah, I think it depends on how well,
yeah,
and especially back when they were trying to do it, like you said, like Pumpkin had three, where they were that was the beginning of them going, okay, is this gonna work? And then it doesn't really work now because everything's in HD and you can see everything better and clearer. And you're like, oh, that looks terrible. That was a bad idea.
yeah.
Um, which I don't know. I mean, then you look at movies like I don't know, Van Helsing or whatever, where they have like the big monsters and stuff like that. And it looked okay. I don't like, I remember going to it in the theater going, I didn't see any problems. I was like, oh, that looks terrible. So,
That's what people say for like the Thing and then the Thing prequel. People always talk about too is the Thing's the practical, and then the Thing 2, which is the prequel, they went more visual on stuff. And that's like a big one that people always talk about. And I haven't seen the prequel yet. I've only seen the main thing.
the
So I
main
still have
thing,
it to see what people are talking about.
yeah, I have not seen the prequel either. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just hasn't hasn't been something I just like sought out, and if I do like a review of it, I probably will, but I have reviewed The Thing I think twice, already, and I love The Thing, the original John Carpenter's The Thing. I think I haven't even seen the original, the Thing from Another World or whatever it was. I think that's what it's called. You know. Um so were you also into like the 50s style movies or anything, or just 80s? Or
Um, I like majority is always 80s, and then after 80s, it's the 90s and 70s horror. Um, 60s, there's a few gems out there. I haven't seen too many 60s, and then we go 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. Like I have the complete Universal Monster DVD set of all of them. I haven't watched most of them. Um, and then I mean sometimes I haven't watched many of them at all. Like I own a lot of them on DVD and VHS, mostly VHS, and then I have a few on DVD, but time wise and doing everything else I'm going on, I haven't time to watch a lot of the older ones. And then like silent era ones I really can't get into overall. And
like not
then
even like Nosferatu or anything like that?
I've seen Nosferatu. I own that one, but haven't like I watched it like a long time ago. I haven't revisited it in a while, but really I haven't seen too many of them fully.
I think there's a new Nosferatu coming out or
I think
something.
William Dafoe is going to be in it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I think I don't know that it's weird. Like they come and go, but like the Universal monster movies, like they'll be gone for a little bit and then they'll be rebooted and then they won't work or something. Like um what is it? Tom Cruise tried to do that, right? Like he tried to bring back the Mummy. And I was like, of all the Universal monster movies, the Mummy is not the right one to start with, because just start with Dracula. You know what I mean? But and then have freaking it would have been so cool if they had had Tom Cruise as Van Helsing, right?
No,
And then he like each monster movie, he goes after the next monster and stuff like that. That's what I would have done, because he's an action star and Van Helsing is an character, you know. Uh though he's very short apparently. Like I don't know how short, but like 5'7" or something, which is short for action star, you know. taller than me, but still, how tall are you, by the way? I see you in the movies, but can't tell.
I'm around 5'9", 5'9"
Mm,
and a half. So it's normal height, really. Not too tall or short.
I
I
guess
can get I can
average.
get up to stuff. Yeah.
You can reach higher than somebody who's shorter than you.
Yeah,
Like
my girlfriend's 5 foot, so I have a little bit of a reach on things.
yeah, you can. Oh, can you give me that up there? Okay, sure. And you'll know when it rains first.
Yeah.
You know, um, that was a bad joke, but get ready for more of those. So what's your like favorite movie?
Um, Horror film wise,
Well,
I'll
it doesn't
go.
have to be a horror film
I'm
either,
gonna
but
go I'm gonna go because there's like how horror. I'd either say Killer Clowns from Outer Space, The Willies, or Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys. And then
nice.
like non-horror wise, I really enjoy watching The Graduate, Shrek
Really?
2, and then Nightmare Before Christmas is a big one also. Yeah,
So,
the
why is the first one, my brain is just
The Graduate
The Graduate. Why is The Graduate your
in in college, my first 2 years, it was mostly just watching films, which is why I hated going to college for film. But out of all the films they had us watch, that was the only one that I really really was into and not fall asleep watching.
was it
Um,
like the quirkiness of it or
I think that, and then Simon and Garfunkel music also was awesome add into that. And then when after we talk about all the little things that went wrong that actually worked out, like the end scene, and then just overall film idea, I just like some of the shots they had in the film also, and just entertaining to watch. And then I also like State Fair, which is like probably one of the oldest films that I actually like watching. The
is that a musical? It sounds like a musical.
Yeah, it's 1945 State Fair.
Nice.
It's I watched that one a lot with my great grandma, and then that one's just one of my top favorite films overall too.
And she was into like musicals and stuff like that, like 40s.
Musicals, yeah, for that, and then Shirley Temple. So I watched that a lot with her growing up, and I own all those Shirley Temples now. Musicals I watched with her, and then like my mom and my other grandma was all into musicals, so like I see a bunch of musicals every year. Um, I was in musical theater in high school. I did 4 theater productions, and I've had some other theater students and majors come on to the project as well for different projects. And
Have you done a musical yet?
we were gonna add it into Nightmares Unleashed. We even wrote we wrote lyrics out for it, but time wise and how things played out, we just scrapped all the musical numbers in the horror project and just left it dancing and a few dialogue. But that was the only time we really got into like making a musical. And like when we did Freakenstein, I mean that thing's just filled with a bunch of like rock music in the background that YouTube's like really strict on, but we don't care about the monetization. I don't care about being paid because I'm not being paid anyway. It's just the way to include cool music into the film. So like a lot of the YouTube films, we have music that we don't own the rights to, but again, we're not making money on anything. It's just to get it out there and people to see it. So like Freakenstein has a lot of music. If I ever remade that one, I would definitely have different actors sing the songs over like a karaoke track for to make it like a rock musical in a sense. Um, but like that'd be like the closest I ever get to it time wise.
That's awesome though. I love when people branch out to do like musicals when they don't normally would do musicals. And for something like you said, a movie for Freakenstein, that just sounds like a perfect thing for like a musical, like a rock opera to have,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's just it's like our weird version of Frankenstein. So we called it Freakenstein, and then we also did Drugula, which is a play on Dracula. But every time someone takes his drugs, they turn into vampires. And we just remade that one the past year.
There's also gonna
Actually
be
recently.
Cracula,
Uh,
like there's just so many different cool like little. and I was just I don't know if you saw my post the other day, but like there's so many Frankenstein movies coming out this year and stuff too, like being made this year. And I'm just like, this is just insane. Like, I mean that's great. You know, like Maggie Gyllenhaal is doing one, Guillermo del Toro is doing one, you know, like all these and then they just had that Lisa Frankenstein, which I've heard mixed things on. You know, some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. So like Frankenstein's a big thing now. I don't know, like maybe all these, maybe it's just like you know kind of a thing, and then independent filmmakers can go and sort of profit off of that too. You know,
That was like the big thing when they did Cocaine Bear, how everyone came up the woodwork making their own cocaine or like a drug soft film. And even we did that one with stoner snakes. We did it also with snakes getting high in the film, and like we even had like a scene where they're like smoking out of a hookah and then like chasing a kid around. And then like we took a cool behind the scene photo with the actors' kids, young kids, like pretending to smoke out of the hookah with the snakes too, which is a little fun thing. But yeah, we got on that bandwagon for stoner snakes, but that's probably like my third or fourth snake film anyway. And again, it's just puppeteering fake snakes and
are they
no visual
talking
effects snakes.
snakes
Yeah, they
or?
everything every time something comes to life in the films, it usually will end up talking. Someone will voice something. All our croutons talk, the s'mores talk, air fryer's gonna talk, blend like all the animate objects come to life usually talk.
My Pet Monster better freaking talk.
Now he talks, yeah, both of them do because we use two pet monsters.
I did the voice of My Pet Monster when I did like I think I did like My Pet Monster's first drug deal. It was terrible. Terrible. Once again, these are all awful. And you know, I had him talking and it was sort of like how you do it, where you will be in the movie and then you'd like cut to like, you know, say My Pet Monster or whatever, and then you'd have him talk, then you come back and, you know, but me, I didn't know how to do like anything special, so I would just speak off camera and, you know, talk for My Pet Monster instead of like actually overlaying audio, you know, or having somebody else voice whatever because I was just wanted to make shit. I was bored and you know, that's what I do. Is that a lot of what you also do? Is like, do you like to do movies where you're just a lot of it is just you and puppets and stuff?
I've done a lot of things where it's just me and then I set the camera on a tripod, do my scenes, act. One time I played four characters in one film, and it was like hard to tell it was all me because we are all wearing masks. But I've worn different wigs in films, fake facial pieces. Again, I'll wear a wig and a dress and some stuff, uh, just show like the back of me in scenes. Like I think the last time I did wearing a dress and a wig, I actually shaved my face fully also. After I did all my other scenes because I had a full beard, so I had to make sure I got all my stuff done before showing the other thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
think if you had a mask and then like a beard and you're playing a girl, you know, that might not work.
yeah, and then that's why we just showed like the side of the face for the girl, so we could still see like the facial features. And then like voicing things, I voiced a lot of the things that have come to life, but I also like getting other people involved. And then when coronavirus hit, we were still filming horror films, but I also did a children's TV show for YouTube, and it was like learning, reading a book, doing arts and crafts. And I would talk to different puppets on the show that were doing stuff. And I even voiced the voice of the Raven, and I would just change my voice. So every time he showed his close up, I would do the Raven's voice. And when we cut back to both of us, I would talk and then insert the Raven's voices I would do after into the film too. So I was able to alter my voice for that scene and
What
like
do you
just for fun.
do? Oh, sorry, sorry.
And like just for fun, I try. We had like I mostly had kids voice the other puppets, and then I try to replicate all the puppets' voices on the show best I could myself. But for sure, the Raven is like the easiest one I could do. Because I've done it, I think, another time in a project, but I can just switch on and off from that voice easily. And then like other stuff, I just like change my pitch and things to record.
So, what made you do the kids TV show?
I always wanted to do one. When we first did the first episode, we had a lot of bad feedback because parents online who saw it checked out the IMDb and saw only the horror films, and they thought that I would convert all their kids into horror, and without before they even watched an episode. And there's not any kind of horror, Halloween, no horror at all involved in the projects. It's all G-rated fun. And then we also did a PG show where it's like scarier stories, and we had like scarier puppets. So like the main show was a owl, a cat, like a turtle. We had a dog and the raven who appeared here and there. And then for the scarier show, it was the raven, a bat, a possum, and a spider, a tarantula we did.
Well,
But it was just a fun way. I just always wanted to do it because I've always felt as a kid at heart. I've always watched cartoons and I still watch cartoons today. Um, and it was all educational projects also. But it was just a fun thing to do. I've been waiting to do. And we did a lot of episodes during that time. We have like 10 episodes already completed. I just haven't been able to edit any of them. And they've been saved for like a year or two already on my hard drive. I try to find an editor who would do it, at least the hard parts, which is just taking up the audio with the book reading. Um, but everything else came at me, so I just pushed that aside. But because it wasn't huge feedback, it was more of a thing to do for my own fun and enjoyment. But we do have a lot of those saved, and like we did like saying please and thank you, uh, dealing with the death of a family member or pet, how to handle divorce between two people, a bunch of high end. We did like having two dads and two moms. Uh, we did like a Hanukkah special, Christmas, um, and just a bunch of different other stuff overall.
so okay, so this is like Sesame Street, like an independent Sesame Street, basically.
It very cheap one, but yeah, it was just fun to do, and I enjoyed doing like the voiceover, the puppets and stuff, and then like for like some of the specials, we had kids come on to the show, like talking to the puppets and just having fun with it also, which was always fun.
I loved when I grew up, I ended up loving Andy Kaufman. And he was big on that. Like he loved children's stuff, or whatever, had children's specials. I don't know if you know who that is. Jim Carrey played him in the movie Man on the Moon.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but the real guy loved that stuff because, he also felt like he was a kid at heart. I am, but like I'm working on a feature called Scream Queen Campfire that's basically Are You Afraid of the Dark for adults, Because my idea is like I'm an adult now. I'll eventually do kids, more teenager and or kid stuff, but later in life. But right now, adults, it's just easier, since I am one, it's just easier to kind of, I mean, kids today are completely different than what I grew up on.
Yeah.
And what
And
even
then
you grew up on.
oh yeah, and it was even funner because when people would complain about the kids stuff, all the voices were really most of the voices of the puppets were children, and the same children were in my horror films that have died and things also. There was a big roundabout circle anyway that was between that they probably didn't even realize either that most of the voices of the puppets have been actors or kids that have been in my horror films that have died and things like that. So it's just a big another thing. We're getting everyone back together for a different type of project. And then that even helped other actors who came on set to be like a different part of their demo reel so they can show that done horror and non-horror also because
Mm.
horror and kids are total opposite spectrum to have on a resume, which is another great thing for me that I can bounce off to do any genre really if I really wanted to. But I would always stick to horror or kids content.
Yeah, I mean, I guess and for indie films you can basically do whatever if you have like the capacity to do it. You could do a western if you wanted to. You just have to find areas that look like it's made in the West, and you have to, do a lot of work with that. But like you can do it. Like it's not, impossible for independent films.
Yeah, I would say sticking with independence way easier than like Hollywood stuff because you still gotta get restrictions and guidelines, especially with like the rating system. You gotta because like the rating system back in the day, horror films were rated PG, and there ain't no damn way there'd be it'd be PG today with some of the stuff they had in the horror films. But now, like a PG film back in like the 80s would be R rated today. And
Well,
then even with
Jaws
Hollywood's,
Jaws would be PG-13 probably.
uh,
Like, even though it was PG.
but like even a lot of the companies are trying to make their horror films more PG-13 than R rated and like
Yeah.
not show the kills and stuff just so they can get more attention in the theaters. When you got like like Five Nights at Freddy's, they would have the kills, but they wouldn't show anything. It would just be like their legs moving, where like I wanted to see the cupcake eat this guy's face and like blood splatter, and they never even showed any of that, which was like the biggest letdown for that because it could have been a sweet R-rated monster horror film
I'm
for that
surprised they
one.
didn't shoot it R-rated and then just cut it down to PG-13. That way they could have it on like a DVD for R-rated,
Yeah,
or
like a two
unrated.
cut type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it costs more money to show it to the MPA twice, or whatever. But like you could still do it unrated, and show
Yeah.
whatever you want. And maybe there is a cut of for Five Nights at Freddy's that's unrated. I don't know, but I never watched it. I didn't know anything about the game. I don't have any unless I'm doing a review of it, I have no interest in it, And even then I probably wouldn't have interest in it. I'll just watch it though, you know, and review it. But so do you get a lot of reviews for your horror films?
Um, Not really. We've had like maybe like one or two like write stuff articles about things, but over and then like I think the one that we had people like re-up like someone had it as like a horror host kind of idea, and they showed like our Danny Hall the Killer Crab Elf. Um, but not too many people really just review the films. I'm sure because there's a lot too many, but even for like reviewing, I'd like to give them some of our like actual movies on DVD and like film festival wise and on streaming to review more than the YouTube stuff that everyone can see. But we are probably going to release one of the big films to YouTube actually for Easter, one of our Easter Massacre film that was like a huge thing festival wise and is on still on streaming, but we're probably just going to upload it to YouTube now just to see if we can get more eyes on higher horror content also.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is such an interesting thing, like the fact that when I remember when it first started coming out and I started uploading things to YouTube, I didn't expect it to be what it is. It's become so much bigger, or whatever than and you're able to get your eyes, your movies like have eyes on it from like everywhere in the world, like, and no people don't realize that like we like somebody from Korea could be watching your movie, or something, you know what I mean? And they might not, I don't know if they'd understand it if there's subtitles somewhere or whatever, but the fact that they could do it, they could watch it is kind of cool, you know, that's out there. So, anyway, let's move on to let's talk about air fryer slaughter, which is having an Indiegogo right now. You
Yeah.
know, uh,
Our well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, tell us a little bit more about it.
Air fryer slaughter was an idea that Matt Skinner posted a thing like saying if any filmmaker makes air fryer slaughter, he wants to be the voice. If he can be the voice of the air fryer, he'll promote the hell out of it, and then he'll also get the the name of the director tattooed on his ass also. And then I just constructed like a really simple air fryer joking poster because we brought so many other things to life. But now we're getting ready to film it. we hit the our initial goal in like less than a week, and like there's still 20 plus days on the Indiegogo, and we're at 4,300 so far. And then it's gonna be like an air fryer going to like different homes and houses and stuff that he gets picked up by. And the air fryer can scoot himself. He can hold objects like VeggieTale style, they'll just float by him.
Veggie Tales.
Um,
I love Veggie Tales.
he's got teeth, glowing red eyes. He'll have a transformation scene, and because we're shooting on camera, I had to make like four different versions of the air fryer. So like we actually can see at least once him transforming and like showing the teeth grow onto him, the teeth retracting back in to hide it better. So that whole thing was practical effects craziness that I had to construct in time. And we have a lot of like great local talent who've been in past films before with us. And then we even have a lot of indie talent also involved so far with the project, which were great to have. Like we have just a Flux involved, uh, Morgan Malam, who used to be Morgan Thompson. We have Mel Heflin, Angel Bradford, Lloyd Kaufman's coming back. So we just have a huge cast so
I
far
think
for that
Heather
project.
Harlow
Yeah,
and there's a big joke about the list of people that Matt Skinner promoted, and you've got I think almost all of them from the list. And
we have 9 out of 10. But who knows who will be announced this week also, just to say. Um, because we're doing a lot of cast announcements all week, and then we save like a bigger one for like Saturday, Friday, Saturday. So it might be the 10th person, but people just have to wait and see if we have all 10 of the big names Matt Skinner wanted.
well, by the time
Um,
this is out there, if it is if it is Friday, Saturday, it'll already be announced by then. But
well,
you
we
know,
got all 10 from his list. We we
nice.
we managed to get all 10
That's
names he
good,
wanted.
Jamie, because I'm a huge fan of hers, so it's awesome that you guys got her. Got
Yeah,
and Jamie Morgan, you got Jeff Kirkendall coming on board. I mean, to me that right there, that's talent in those group, and I love it because like these are the people kind of say stuff about people working with these people all the time, but like that's because they're really good, to me. Like I think they're the names. Angel Bradford, I worked with her and I absolutely adore her, and we're gonna continue working together, you know.
yeah, that was a big Matt Skinner thing to get all the he was we were working together all the names, and he did a lot of the work to get them all. So I'm glad for that. And then I'm just working on everyone who in my area to come on board, which is a lot of returning MMH names involved with the project, which is going to be fun to do.
So is this gonna be like a big MMH like universe movie?
Um, in a sense, yeah, I know Matt Skinner's saying it's like the Avengers of horror, with how many indie people we have involved. That's also because of Matt with all the sharing and promoting he does for other people's films. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
we able to get everyone in because all the help he's done, now they're helping us create this film also, which is a great connections thing where it seems it's easier to get connections and people to come together that way than people like in the Cleveland film scene area, uh, in terms of everyone helping each other out. Like more people have shared outside of the area than people in my own area. So it's great to have that.
You'll find out that that happens a lot because the indie horror community itself is so big and it reaches so far. But like my hometown in Virginia, just they don't like they wouldn't know what this horror stuff really like. They might know what the Avengers are if I said the Avengers, but they wouldn't know what this would be. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Hmm.
So it's funny to like see that like the person who you have never met in your life, but you just know on Facebook is going to give you more money than like the person down the street that has seen you do all this stuff for years.
Yeah, it's I like having even just people sharing it, more people share it outside our area than people in the area, which is still shocking, but it is what it is.
Well, especially if you're using local spots and stuff. Like you said, you shot stuff at different places in town and the bowling alley and whatnot when you weren't supposed to, but you did it anyway, which is kind of cool. That's very guerrilla. I'm glad that they were cool about it. They could have been like really pissed off, but they shared your thing, so I'm guessing they liked it.
I'm guessing, yeah. I mean, I think we've only gotten in trouble once for what we did, and even after we got in trouble that one time, we still kept going on making and filming and anywhere we wanted. We filmed at parks without, we just filmed in a bunch of things that we weren't supposed to film in, but we just didn't care.
Mm,
And I still, if I want to film a movie somewhere, I'll just get me and one other person and I'll just film some shit just to have it in like a
mm,
random spot. Like I still don't care. Like the main films, of course, I get location release forums for, have them sign for the property using it. But if it's like a fun random project for like a YouTube thing, I'll film wherever I want, and I really don't, it doesn't bother me. If someone says get off my if it's like, hey, you can't be filming here, then I'll leave. But I'll have the shot already by the time they find out. So it is what it is.
yeah.
And I'm not making any money on it, so I really don't care either.
Yeah, it's not like you're making money and you're like selling it and you're saying, oh, this is, like you're selling that place or whatever, and it's not your place to kind of do that. But it's you're just making fucking movies. You're
Yeah, we're
going out
just
there shooting.
having fun. And then I know a lot of people are like think like our stuff's more going for quality, or I mean more quantity over quality. And while it's somewhat in a sense, it's just more I like having fun with filmmaking. And if I'm only doing uh like super high quality budget stuff and then like more time constraining stuff, it's not as fun as me just coming up with a random idea, filming it for fun and shooting it, having a blast, and it's more of a relaxed type of set, not as stressful. I mean, I think it's not going to be like a Steven Spielberg film or something crazy here. It's just a random fun thing I want to do to like it's a cool way to like let off like the stress seam of the big projects. I can just film some random thing and just be happy that I made something for fun. And quality is something good, but I have a large amount of quantity just because also every weekend we'd shoot something back in the day. And
Yeah,
even today, yeah, I'll just film stuff if I want to film it. It doesn't bother me.
it's like 240 something movies or something like that on
Yeah,
IMDb.
it's around that, like over 230.
Yeah, that's insane. But like, you look at it, it's mostly shorts, right? So it's not
Yeah,
like,
that's mostly shorts, and like a lot of the features that we've done have been a lot of like anthology features. So it's still like in way of shorts. It's just for me, it's easier doing features as anthologies because I don't have to have everyone coming back multiple dates. A lot
mm,
of the stuff is like a one shoot date for each story. It's like if it's like an anthology of like five shorts, each short's only a 1 day shoot. So it just works easier that way. And then like a wraparound scene is another shoot date instead of multiple shoots, multiple days for stuff. But we've done full like regular features in the past too, though. But not as many as like anthologies and shorts.
so your anthologies include the puppets, like as, the wraparound?
Um, for we did like a bed bug. We did bed bugs, and one of the stories had puppets in it. But usually the wraparounds are like bed bugs wrap around our kids going trick or treating. And every house they stop at, they hear a story. Our girls make the best killers. We had a guy tied up, and the girl was telling them horror stories, but each story involved like a female lead killer.
Hmm.
And then like when we had Little Muffin, it was two trolls that kidnapped a kid, and the troll and kid are going back and forth telling stories, and each story involves lead of kid actors, either kid actors fighting the villains or kid actors as the villains. It just depends on if the trolls told a story or if the kid was telling a story also. So that's and then like Poe stories is the same way. People were passing along a Edgar Allan Poe book, and they would each time they got to their part of the story, That was the one that we made the story about. But the people who were telling the story, they were the lead in their story. So like the guy who's like about to read the Raven, he put himself into the Raven story, and that's how it worked for all of them for that way.
That's pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen that like done like that or anything, So that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
So
we were gonna do it a different way, but then after we shot like the main scene, I said, we'll just put all the lead actors who picked their story, and we'll just put them into the film as the lead actor. And then when the story ends, they come back, and it's still them again.
that's awesome. Well, I mean, I love that you're just constantly making junk. Like you said, quantity, but like your quantity is just fun and silly. There are some filmmakers who do quantity, but their movies are just boring. Like it's just like let's make 10 movies a year and then the movies are just dreadfully boring. There's not a lot of action, there's not a lot of whatever, but at least your movies like they're fun and silly and goofy, but they're like I said, they're fun, you know?
Yeah, we try to get into like the action faster than anything because I really it's harder to watch an indie film and then like the first 30 minutes are just people talking, introducing characters, where like for Air Fryer, for an example, the film's like around 60 minutes, and within that 60 minutes there's like 13 kills that happen, but we're probably going to extend it to like 75 minutes. And even like 15 kills in 75 minutes, that's like a kill every 10 minutes or so, or even less really. So it's
Yeah.
really just making things happen. And then another big thing about us is in probably 90% of the projects, the villains always win in the films. There's usually never a final girl, a lead actor winning. It's usually the monster wins, the killer wins, or like the inanimate object will win also. I'm more about the unhappy ending of the actual bad guys winning than just stopping the bad guy in most of the stuff.
Well, with Judy it was a little different.
Judy was a little bit different, but
Yeah.
a lot of the like stuff we do that we send to festivals and things like that, we try to make it where none of the good guys ever will win. It's like even
Yeah.
for Poe's stories, how it ended. After they told the stories, they all transformed into what they told. So like the guy turns into a raven, the girl loses all her teeth and bare knees, the guy turns into an old man, and they all had their bad outcome at the end. So bad outcomes always work better for how I like doing it than just a happy ending.
Well, yeah, happy endings are kind of boring. Um,
Yeah, like you always expect like when we did a slasher film, you always expect the good person's gonna win at the end, but they don't. I make sure the villain always wins.
yeah, when you watch like a Hollywood movie, like especially like a Marvel movie or something, that like by the end of the movie, Captain America is gonna win. Like there's no doubt that he's going to win. It might be hard for him to get there. There might be struggles along the way, but he's gonna win, at the end. And it kind of gets boring. Then you're like, oh man, there's no like when like the
You know what's gonna
formula.
happen.
Yeah, the formula. It gets boring. You're just like, I don't know if I want to watch Thor fight somebody because like, you know, unless it's the death of Thor, which, like why would I want to watch that? You know?
Yeah, very occasionally we'll have the hero win, but even then people don't expect it sometimes when they're watching like MMH stuff. So we try to do a little twist and turn out of the blue sometimes just to keep people like, oh, okay, that's a little bit different. So no one knows really when you're watching it if the villain's gonna win or the good people will win. We keep it that way also.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else, like any other projects you want to promote?
Um, Besides the air fryer that's on Indiegogo right now, we're in post production on Killer Poop 2, Amityville Poo, um, and in Nightmares Unleashed, which is like my dream baby project we worked on. And then we're also going to be start filming Nightmares Unleashed 2 and Killer Poop 3 this summer as well. So it's just a lot going on, but for sure, if you like look up Nightmares Unleashed on YouTube, you'll find a bunch of our pre-production stuff we did for the feature. It's based on a short film back in 2018, which you can watch also on YouTube. That one's just a big monster, practical effects monsters all around type of film, which is again like my passion project baby. MMH Productions on YouTube. We're on Instagram and Facebook. And then Matthew and Ophelia's Wonderful World of Fun is the name of our kids show on YouTube also.
That's awesome. So, and you've got so much going on. It seems like you're just constantly working, which is great because some people like me, I just took like 2 years off, and it wasn't planned. That wasn't like, like something I
Hmm.
wanted to do. It's just, I think I was just so burnt out from things anyway. But I'm like, I gotta get back into it, So I
Yeah,
love hearing this. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to do like a at least a month or two off after a project, and then next thing I know, I'm doing another random short like 2 weeks later. So I said, I guess it's just hard for me to not do stuff really,
Yeah, you
even though
just can't sit on your butt.
I hate being so like overwhelmed with stuff happening, but I'm still gonna get the stuff done eventually. It just might take some extra time, but things are always coming up around here and there.
Well, that's great, man. Like you and there's another director out there named James Balsamo. I don't know if you know him, but he's constantly making stuff. I just interviewed him again. Like it's just fun to just see these everybody just constantly making movies because it does inspire people to go out and pick up a camera and just fucking start shooting, stuff. So
Yeah, I
thank
mean,
you.
yeah, that's the easiest thing. You can even use like nowadays you can just pull up your phone and film some stuff, really. I mean, it's just so easy just to do some stuff for
Yeah, I
fun.
mean, nobody has real excuses except if like they just want to, like I want to shoot on the red or something like that, or
Yeah,
what.
and then people who just want to learn too, you don't gotta go to school for it with like how many tutorials and videos are on YouTube. You really don't even gotta go to school for film anymore unless you want to get connections and stuff. Whereas like me, I shouldn't have went to college because before college I already made over 150 films and I made more films outside of college than I made like 4 films in college for 4 years, really. And then I made like
That's a film a
it's
year.
it was like even the first year of film school I didn't even touch the camera, which is a real joke that I shouldn't have went when I already knew everything from I went to Cuyahoga Valley Career Center for 2 years in high school and they basically taught me everything I knew and still know in 2 years than what I'd learned in 4 years. I think the only thing I really got involved in at college was using like a VR headset camera and then doing like a choose your own adventure film really like and then doing like visual effects class like everything else was just a waste of time for me to even go.
Yeah, is that like so? So you made a choose your own adventure film?
Yeah, we did a choose your own adventure film called like Haunted House and that's on YouTube and you actually get to pick what my character does and there's like I think 8 ways to die and like 5 ways to live, and you just have to do a bunch of different combinations for it. And then we also
That's
do
so
like
cool.
a 360 VR film on YouTube where you actually have to look around the room to see where the monster's coming.
Do both of them you need the VR for, or is
No,
the
just the VR
just
one,
the VR one?
Monster in the Closet. The Haunted House, you can just do it YouTube wise. Like at the end, it'll pop up like which one to pick, and you just click which one, and it goes to a unlisted video to watch what happens, and it keeps going. Yeah, there's like I think 10 different endings of it, 10 or 12 different endings I did, and each one's a different either kill or how to live type of thing.
That's so cool. I've always thought about that because I've seen some people make like a choose your own adventure movie or whatever, but like I always thought like I mean with today with DVDs that you can have so you could just press, right left, on your remote and stuff like that. And so there are so many different ways to sort of do stuff like but
Oh yeah.
that's kind of neat and different. And I'm interested to see where the VR stuff goes because right now it's going to be really, really fucking expensive to begin with because that's how technology always is. Then it'll get cheaper as other technology evolves, and so people will be available to like put on that headset and feel like they're there, doing everything. I think
Yeah,
it's
that
pretty
one
neat.
it's fun because you can just also just do it on your computer and just move the thing around looking. And we kept it a lot more simple than other things where you're just like in a bed, like a child's bed, and you can't like you can only move your head left and right to look around in the bedroom. And everything happens like forward at you, like the lights turn off, flicker on and off, but a lot of it's just mostly like left and right and things come at you type of thing.
Are
And
you
it's like 5 minutes or less.
are you a fan of AI?
Not in particular, no. Like poster wise, I won't use AI to make any movie posters. I usually do it in Photoshop or my girlfriend will design it. Like writing the stories, I'm not like we did like a thing on AI where it's like it writes random stories, but we made it like comedy, like sex, goofy shit, really. But I wouldn't like have AI like voice roles. AI wouldn't write anything for me. I'm not going to use AI for posters. I'm just not a big. I think it's just taking away art and things from other people that know how to do it.
I agree. And especially writing, it's right now it's at a very infancy phase where I would not trust it with writing a script because it would, it wouldn't necessarily know how to write a good one, you know?
Yeah, I
And
think yeah,
yeah.
AI writing I mostly use for like eBay listings. It'll just say use AI with what you wrote. So I use it for that, like on eBay listings, but anything with film or anything, I'm not even gonna touch it.
I think isn't Facebook using AI stuff now? Like I saw something, I think
Yeah, I think there was something, but I don't even know what's going on because I don't really stay up to date with uh AI or like Meta or anything. I'm just doing my own stuff and I'm
I
still doing
know,
practical instead of CGI, so I'm really not
yeah.
gonna touch AI.
Yeah. Well, I was like looking at it'll say use AI to write your status or something. And I'm like, why? Like I'm starting to get to this point where they just don't want us to do anything. Like I'm having this theory that like, and it's might be a conspiracy theory, I don't know, whatever. But like that the world, the universe wants us to start using AI and everything so that all we have to do is literally just sit on our ass all day at the computer and play video games or watch movies or whatever we're doing and be in these things and then the robots just take over and do all the rest of it for us, and I'm just getting tired of that because I'm like, the point of me, like, before streaming existed, my favorite part was going to the video store and picking up a fucking movie, you know? I feel
Yeah,
like that's a
yeah,
gone.
I didn't get to really grow up in that era, sadly. Though I probably would have loved it with everything I do.
Yeah,
But
you
like
would have.
we shot like at a late fee in Dark Side Stories. We actually shot at Family Video, and then we shot there, and they let us film there for free. And
Nice.
then it was we went. I was gonna go back because we're doing like a documentary for like the anniversary of it because it's been like 5, 6 years, and I just wanted to go to all the locations again and just record it. And now it's a family. It's a family dollar store type of thing instead. I still want to go in there because I know where everything we shot at just to see like how it looks now. But it's sad that the dollar store took over the family video store, which really sucked. But that
No.
sucks that they're dying because I'm more into the digital media myself too. Because at least I'll have it on digital than just whenever it gets taken off streaming.
Well, yeah, but like I want to bring up this up because I just saw an article um Funimation, I think is what it's Funimation, something like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're going out of business. Like their streaming site is going away and they're being replaced with there's another streaming site already that's there and they're not allowing the people who have bought their stuff from Funimation, they're who've already bought like their digital copies, they have bought them. Those won't work after it goes over to this other company
Oh
and
wow.
everything. And I'm like, That's just lame because that means like you as a person, this is why I always fight for physical media, is because you as a filmmaker, right? You want everybody to be able to watch your movie whenever they want to watch it, right? Like that's why you support DVDs and you tell people to go buy your DVDs and everything. If somebody goes and buys the DV, uh somebody has the buys it online and digital, then it gets taken over. What happens when Amazon goes bankrupt one day? Like, I'm not gonna say it's now or whatever, but like eventually all businesses go belly up. Like it's gonna be really difficult to say that Amazon's gonna be here forever. And
Yeah,
all your files, all your movies, they're gonna go. They're gonna be gone.
yeah, we haven't even gotten anything on Amazon yet. We have 10 stuff on like Troma now, but even like the
Nice.
YouTube stuff, who knows when YouTube changes their terms again if they take down one of my videos or like the 18 and older stuff goes away. At least I still have the copies and people can get them on DVD instead of YouTube. Like if YouTube ever takes anything down, at least I still have everything saved and digitalized. I can just put on DVDs also, which is another reason I keep making like I'll do like a combo pack DVD of like 10 shorts on a DVD, and it's like boom, there you go. There's 10 of the shorts, and then we were even gonna do like a MMH box set thing of like 4 discs, and it's like MMH years 2018 to 2019 all on DVD, and then
Nice.
like 2020 to 21 on a DVD, and then 22 to 23 all on a DVD.
You should, yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. And then, other than maybe things going out of print or something, but you're in control of that. Like you're making the DVDs, right?
Yeah, I do all my DVD making and then like my own distribution. So
Yeah.
like I make the DVDs front and back side on like Photoshop. I put it on Avery, print it out on legal size paper, the long ones. Have my mom cut them out. We stick into the blank DVD cases I buy on Amazon, bunch of bulk. Then we have the disc sticker labels we stick on each DVD I make. So they have their own specialized disc label, and then I box it up, and I'll like take it to festivals or like conventions, and I have a bunch of DVDs of every film I made. I can just sell them that way, and that way also I'm gonna deal with a different group of people making the DVDs. I have more control of how I want the
Mm,
menus to look, bonus features. I don't got to give away any of that profit to other people
mm-mm.
who've made it. It's just all back into the MMH and more future movies it comes into.
There you go. And so yeah, there you're making these things, and then if somebody asks, you get more people wanting them, then you keep making more. And it's just better than having everything on a paid for streaming thing, like, buying a movie on Amazon or on another site, and then all of a sudden they go bankrupt, then you are, then you won't have it anymore. And so having that physical copy is like the best thing because then, like, even if it gets scratched, you could just buy a new one, Like, I just don't understand why people are, acting the way they do about everything. But, yeah, like the streaming versus physical media is always going to be a talk, you know?
Hmm.
But all right, well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. And everybody go check out Air Fryer Slaughter. It looks so much fun. That cast is insane. And I just love the idea of inanimate objects coming to life and killing people. I just think, from like, full moon stuff, I mean, like, who ever thought a killer gingerbread cookie would become a big hit, you
Yeah,
know?
Full Moon is really the goat and real inspiration for me bringing everything to life too. I mean, I've watched Full Moon since I was a child, and that's still like a big reason I do dolls and puppets myself too.
You said, was it demonic toys versus?
Pup
Puppet
Master was like
Master.
the first full moon film I watched, even though it's not technically full moon. But it still introduced me to everything.
Oh,
And then I got
the
into,
first Puppet Master, which was actually technically Empire, I guess, or so.
but like I know when I watched the first Puppet Master itself, it was a big eye opener. And then watching Stuart Gordon's Dolls was another
Mm.
big thing. That was like, wow, that's like I know Dolls is Empire, and that was like a big like, holy crap, I want to
I
make
love
shit
that
come to
movie.
life. Yeah, that's one of
I
my top tens easily.
I don't think I own it on Blu-ray yet or anything. I gotta get that on Blu-ray. They need to start like really updating everything to 4K now because I'm updating all my stuff. Even well, the Troma hasn't because they just really started Blu-ray.
Yeah, I know they
You
just
know.
started the Toxic Avenger 4K, but even then, they're still like not Hollywood style. They have to work their way up for that. It probably takes more time for them also.
Also, I don't think it's gonna look like what a normal 4K from Hollywood would look like because their Blu-rays almost look like their DVDs, just they're in a Blu-ray case, which is fine with me because a lot of those movies I've got are like scratched, and it's harder to scratch a Blu-ray, or whatever. So I'm okay with getting them all updated at least at some point to Blu-ray. And even maybe, you said 4K for Toxic Avenger box set, so I might have to start getting back into that because the Toxic Avengers, one of those movies I used to watch when it was on like USA and everything as a kid. And I didn't watch Toxic Crusaders. I don't know if you know that, but
Oh yeah, I have all the figures from Toxic Avenger. I bought them all. But yeah, like I think it's like Air Fry's the third or fourth project we had Lloyd Kaufman in on the film, and then Lloyd Kaufman's coming back to being Pull Shark Frenzy. He's the voice of
nice.
the Pull Shark monster.
So all you gotta do is get them to send you a voice, right, clip that
Yeah,
like
for Air Fryer, he's sending in video and audio. For Pull Shark, he's just voicing the Air Fryer. I mean the Pull Shark monster.
that's
And then
awesome.
that's like his fourth or fifth stuff with us because I just like keeping updated. And I gave him like a list of lines. And then I can use like one or two lines for a different film if I need to, also type of thing.
Well, everybody should go check out MMH Productions on YouTube. Do you have another website?
We have a like a Wix site, but really everything's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then you can check out my IMDb, Matthew Mark Hunter, if you want to see our list of films. And then you can reach out to me on any of those if you're interested in seeing what we have on DVD that's not on YouTube. I can send you a trailer to what it is, and then I have a lot of the DVDs on eBay to sell.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and good luck on this Indiegogo. I'm really excited for it.
Thank you for having me on. It's great.
Yeah, all right. And everybody go check his stuff out. And until then, everybody, bye.